You're not going to hear this in the CBC, so please donate to keep this station on the air. Days before the American election, my prediction is that Trump is going to win. The Democrats are too smart by half. Marc Kealey joins me right now. He's a big political student, both in Canada, the United States, and in Mexico. And you're predicting that not only is Trudeau going to be around for quite some time, he is going to use the election of Trump as president to try to get reelected himself, even though most Canadians think he's done a bad job.
So look, and I think Canadians are really kind of a little behind the eight ball in terms of their thinking around this. And mainstream media has not been kind to Trudeau over the last 2 years. And rightly so. This performative,
the polls haven't been kind, but a lot of the
performative politics of Trudeau is hurting his brand, not the party. Because I think people are going to, when you look at this in the context of what your outset comment was, the United States, yes, I think Donald Trump will win the United States presidency, and I think the reason he will is because people are tired of the Democrats in terms of how they've managed things. There, you talked about food prices before. You've talked about inflation. You've talked about jobs. You've talked about immigration. All of those issues. All of those issues have really stung Americans. So Trump is going to win, and he's cottoned on to something. And you're right. If we use the balance of power theory between Ontario and Canada as a weather vane on this, they would do the same thing between the United States and Canada in terms of whose government. And it's always good that if you've got one government that's red in the United States, you'll have a government up here that's liberal. And so I think in the particular case of Donald Trump, conservative government in the United States, they'll probably look at in Canada thinking, we can't have that here in Canada, if you catch my drift. And we'd say, you know what? We're better the devil we know in Justin Trudeau than in Pierre Poilievre, who these guys have labeled as Trump light. So
I know, but I mean, they've labeled him that. Are Canadians going to be silly enough to accept that because he's not Trump-like and he has big differences? And so many people in Canada are saying now, we are going to fail as a nation economically, socially, if we can't have this. And Trudeau's not a liberal, this progressive socialist guy there.
Well, I think the progressive agenda is sort of winding down, and governments are
but
great.
Trudeau, yes,
they're good at but they're good at metamorphosis, and I think you're going to see. Let's get this election in 2025 out of the way in Canada. They'll have a year when Trump is in power to look at how we refocus, and they'll refocus, Stephen. These guys are not stuck on a progressive agenda. We got to get more comprehensive, much like what we did prior to 2015. And you're going to see, I think, a comprehensive agenda in the thinking of this government that could be a Justin Trudeau government.
Trudeau would have to fire half his ministers who stand up. Remo says, I'm a socialist. Miller says, I'm for open Canada. They'd all have to go.
So,
3 minutes, I'm sorry. Another time.
Yep.
Marc Kealey here on Great Sport. 3 minutes. To those of you who have subscribed and donated, a heartfelt thank you. You're keeping us on the air. If you're watching and you haven't, please try to do so, because 4 years ago we started this show because there needed to be independent analysis. Now more than ever, with the Online Harms Act, once that gets into law, it's been passed once by the House, there are going to be hundreds of bureaucrats censoring the news in Canada, censoring this show. We need to keep it on the air. Thanks for your support.